Hello everyone, it's me again, Joseph, your host, and welcome back to our channel and the Catechism for Kids. Today we're diving into a super important book in the Bible called the First Book of Kings. It's an amazing collection of stories that show us what happens when people choose to follow God and what happens when they don't. It's filled with wise kings, powerful prophets, and some really big choices. So, what is the First Book of Kings all about? Well, it picks up right after the story of King David. His son Solomon becomes the new king, and at first, everything is fantastic. Solomon asks God for wisdom, and he becomes known as the wisest king ever. He even builds a magnificent temple in Jerusalem for everyone to worship God. But as time goes on, things start to change. Solomon makes some not-so-great choices, and the kingdom begins to face problems. After Solomon, the kingdom of Israel actually splits into two. The northern part is called Israel, and the southern part is called Judah. From then on, a long line of kings rule over these two kingdoms. Some of them try to follow God, but sadly, many of them turn away and lead the people to worship false gods or idols. But here's the most important part. Even when the people and their kings mess up, God never gives up on them. He sends brave messengers called prophets like the famous Elijah to remind everyone to come back to him. The book teaches us that God is the one true king, and choosing to follow him is always the best decision, bringing wisdom and peace into our lives. So, who wrote this book and what was happening back then? The stories in 1 Kings took place a very long time ago, about 900 years before Jesus was born. The people of Israel were living in the land God had given them. They had big cities, armies, and of course kings. We don't know the exact name of the person who wrote it, but it was probably written many years after these events happened. During a time when the people of Judah were living far from home in a place called Babylon. This was a really tough period for them, and they wanted to understand why things had gone so wrong. So, they looked back at their history to learn from their mistakes. The author, who likely knew all of Israel's laws and stories, put together old records and reports to create this book. The goal was to show a clear picture. When the kings and people obeyed God, things went well. When they didn't, there were serious consequences. This book isn't just a history lesson. It's a powerful story about faith and choices that we can all learn from. The way 1 Kings is written is really cool. It reads like a history book, but it's also full of action-packed stories. It follows the lives of the kings of Israel and Judah, showing us the choices they made and how those choices affected everyone. You'll meet good kings, but you'll also meet a lot of kings who made poor decisions. And it's not just about kings. The book introduces us to prophets, who are God's special messengers. The most famous prophet in 1 Kings is Elijah. He's incredibly courageous and isn't afraid to speak God's truth, even to powerful and angry rulers. His story brings a lot of excitement and drama to the book. The writer uses simple scenes to teach big lessons. Sometimes the action is fast, like a battle scene, and other times it slows down for a beautiful prayer or a message directly from God. The stories are straightforward and help us see the clear difference between following God and turning away. It uses people's real-life actions to teach us, which helps us think about our own choices today. So what are the main lessons for us in 1 Kings? The book is filled with themes that connect directly to our Catholic faith. First and foremost, it teaches us about faithfulness to God. When the people worshipped the one true God, they were blessed. When they turned to false gods, they faced hardship. It's a powerful reminder that our faith truly matters. Another big theme is the importance of prayer. King Solomon's prayer when he dedicated the temple is a beautiful example. He asks God to listen to his people and forgive them. This encourages us to pray often, asking God for help, guidance, and mercy in our own lives. Leadership is also a huge topic. Good kings led people closer to God, while the bad kings led them astray. This reminds us that leaders, whether in our church, our country, or even our schools, have a big responsibility to serve others and listen to God. It also calls us to pray for our leaders. But the most hopeful message is that God keeps reaching out. Even when the people sinned again and again, God didn't abandon them. He sent prophets like Elijah to guide them back to the right path. It shows us God's incredible patience and mercy. He wants to help us return to him whenever we make a mistake. Let's break down the book into smaller parts to make it easier to understand. The book of 1 Kings has 22 chapters, and we can group them into 4 main sections. First, chapters 1 and 2 cover how Solomon becomes king. It's the story of the transition of power from his father, David, and how Solomon secures his throne. Next, chapters 3 through 11 focus on Solomon's reign. This is where we hear about his amazing wisdom, the incredible project of building the temple, and sadly, how he eventually turns away from God. Then, in chapters 12 to 16, the kingdom splits. This is where Solomon's son Rehoboam takes over, and his harsh leadership causes the northern tribes to break away. We meet King Jeroboam of the north and see how both new kingdoms begin to struggle with sin. Finally, chapters 17 through 22 are all about the prophet Elijah. These chapters are packed with action as Elijah confronts the wicked King Ahab and Queen Jezebel and challenges the prophets of a false god. He boldly calls the people back to worshiping the one true God. Each section helps us see the pattern, from peace to trouble, from glory to division. But through it all, God remains present, always working to bring his people back to him. So, who were these kings? Let's look at a quick list. Before the split, there was Solomon, who ruled the entire United Kingdom. After the split, the southern kingdom, Judah, was ruled by kings like Rehoboam, Asa, and Jehoshaphat, some of whom tried to follow God. The northern kingdom, Israel, had kings like Jeroboam, who started the split, and the infamous duo, Ahab and his wife Jezebel, who led the people into deep idolatry. Most of the kings of the northern kingdom did not follow God's ways, which led to a lot of trouble. You might be thinking, this book is so old. Why does it still matter today? That's a great question. 1 Kings shows us how easy it is to get distracted and forget God, especially when other things like money, popularity, or success seem more important. The book calls these things false idols and reminds us that they don't last. Only God is forever faithful. The book also teaches us so much about prayer. When Solomon asked God for wisdom instead of riches, it showed us what's truly valuable. We too can pray for wisdom to make good choices in our lives. Prayer is our direct line to God, just as it was for the people back then. It makes us think about what it means to be a good leader. Whether you're a team captain, a class president, or just a big brother or sister, being a good leader means caring for others and trying to do what's right. Most importantly, 1 Kings shows us that God never gives up on us. Even when the people made huge mistakes, God sent prophets to guide them back. This is a message of incredible hope. God is patient with us too. He's always calling us back to him with love and mercy. You'll even hear parts of 1 Kings at Mass. One famous reading is from 1 Kings chapter 3, where Solomon asks God for a wise and understanding heart. This teaches us to ask God for the things that truly matter. Another popular story is from 1 Kings chapter 19, where the prophet Elijah is hiding in a cave. God doesn't appear in a mighty wind or a powerful earthquake, but in a tiny whispering sound. This beautiful story reminds us that God often speaks to us in the quiet moments of our lives, if we just take the time to listen. When we hear these stories at Mass, we are invited to learn from them and respond to God's call in our own lives. So, to wrap it all up, the book of 1 Kings is a powerful story about kings, prophets, and choices. It begins with the glory of King Solomon and the building of the temple, but shows how turning away from God led to the kingdom splitting apart. Through it all, brave prophets like Elijah spoke God's truth, and God himself never stopped reaching out to his people. Now it's your turn. 1 Kings is full of action and important lessons. It shows us that God never forgets his people. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to give it a try. Stories are clear and exciting. After you read some of it, come back and leave a comment below. What part stood out to you the most? Was it Solomon's wisdom, Elijah's courage, or something else? We would love to hear how this ancient book speaks to you today. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more Catechism for Kids. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and healthy as usual. See you next time, and God bless you always.